Well, good evening, guys. Little technical difficulties as usual, but I think we got everything worked out this time. Got a special guest that's going to be coming on tonight. Poppy's with us tonight, back from vacation. Special guest is going to be a good friend of mine, Mike. Just left. I don't want to go into a whole lot of details. I'll let him do where he just left. But he was a law enforcement officer, and he's going to be coming into trucking. Going to be working with us here at JB Hunt. And I'll let him describe all of his information to you in a minute. But first, before I bring the other guys in, I just wanted to let you guys know. I've never sponsored anything, and I don't want to get into a whole lot of details about this, but I've got a new program that I think a lot of you guys might be interested in. It is a game changer. Matter of fact, I know everybody's going to be interested in it. If anybody has any desire to watch television or movies or anything like that, I've got a special deal that's coming up. I'm not sponsoring these people, but I will be, I guess, reselling the program with the program that they have. Don't want to go into a whole lot of details about it, but I'm going to try it out for about 30 days or so. Make sure the product is what it needs to be before I really get out there and put it out there. I've been trying it out over the weekend and through the week. So far, I'm very happy with it, and I think it's going to be a product that everybody will like. So bear with me here. I'm going to get the guest in. Hold on a second here. All right, guys. Everybody here?
Yeah.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
Mike? All right.
Yes,
Good deal.
I'm here.
Actually working for once. I can't believe it. Before we get into you, Mike, what's going on, Poppy? How was vacation? Tell everybody how things went.
Well, it wasn't vacation, James. It was a whole lot of freaking honey-do list, and I had to get back on the truck to rest because I'm about killed from being off. So
Yeah, I can understand. Me and Mike, we both have honeydew list too. As a matter of fact, I think that's what he's been doing for the last week and a half is a honeydew list before he decides to come over. So, any updates with anything you want to put out there, Poppy?
well, I'll just say this for fun. This is just fun. Vacation's coming Labor Day week at Panama City. We do that every year, so that'll be 7 days in Florida. So that'll be the real vacation. But no, everything's just as we say every day, James. It's just trucking.
It is, man.
I just came out of Texas, and as you know, I run down there about every week, and they just had this hurricane came in down there, and because of it, there's still no power where I pull out of down there. So I predicted to you yesterday this would happen. Uh, I don't know. I guess I've got ESP, but I got down there today, and they pushed all of today's loads to tomorrow. So we're deadheading 600 miles to Jonesboro, Arkansas, to get our Florida load. So we're currently in Gurdon, Arkansas, on our way to Jonesboro to get a Florida, and it pays the last two loads of the week pay good enough. We can afford to do that. We didn't want to do it. That cost us $1,000 right off our profit this week, not getting that load. But as we say, it's just trucking. You can't
Right.
you can't be in this for a day to day high. You got to be in this for a long term operation,
That is
and
correct.
we can't control the weather, so you got to do what you got to do.
I'm actually surprised that you even, wanted to challenge that Houston weather with the hurricane and everything. That really surprised me. Even my wife made a comment said, "Why is he going down there?"
Well,
Especially knowing what we know.
I called I called this bunch we work for and on Tuesday and said, please tell me that they're up and running down there at that customer. Yeah, oh yeah, they're running. And but they only know, in their defense, they only know what the customer tells them. And in the customer's defense, they got this freight that needs to go, and it's all just in time freight, as you know. And the customer doesn't want to give up a whole day of loads getting out on Monday or Tuesday. They're going to hold on hope that, oh, somebody's going to get the power back on. We're going to be able to make this happen. So everybody's just trying to stay one step ahead of the axe. And who always pays the price, as we say? The driver,
We
the
always pay the
driver.
price.
Yeah. So it is what it is. I'm not even mad about it. most people's like, well, I bet you're mad. I'm like, no, not really. I guess it kind of makes it easier that I kind of expected it, you know. And I got $150 for today, truck not used, and so it is what it is.
You know what we always say is there's plenty of parking at this pilot that I'm at, and I've got a guy that's literally parked right in front of me. I watched him go in to the store with his shower bag, taking a shower. If I needed to leave or the next two or three trucks next to me needed to leave, guess what? We're not going anywhere.
Yeah,
And it's always a white Volvo. And you know what we always say, and I
yeah,
don't want to go into a whole lot of details. You know who
yeah,
drives a white Volvo. Um,
absolutely.
it
Don't
just
speak English.
it amazes me to see the stupidity that we see every day. And it's not like there's not parking here. There's at least 30 or 40 parking spots still left over. Um,
They're the only ones in the world. We're just living in their world. Is what it is.
yeah. I hate going live on Wednesdays like this because I just got notification of like three people going live at the same time we are. So, unfortunately, a lot of people are going to catch this program on the replay, which is fine. But enough with me bitching and complaining because that seems like I always do every video that I do. Mike, let's go into you, buddy. You got a big change coming up. I know you're anticipating it, ready for it. Um, I don't know, just go into details. What have you been doing for the last 10, 15 years? And I know you've made a lot of moves and a lot of changes just like me, but, say what you want or don't say what you want and just kind of introduce yourself.
Well, I guess most of my career has been in law enforcement, as you know. Um, I left law enforcement 2012 till about 2021. I think I got back in and did a few things, some warehouse supervisors stuff. And about 2019, I started driving truck, and I enjoyed driving truck, but did some team driving with you, James, of course.
Yeah.
But and and I second that we're good friends, but that definitely tested our friendship.
You actually saw that YouTube video that I did,
I
didn't
did,
you?
I did.
I
I'm
said
like,
that
you're
we became
100%.
bad. We became bad enemies for about a year, and I don't think we really talked to each other a whole lot for about a year because of
Yeah,
that.
it was about a year there. We kind of distanced ourselves for a year, took a break, I guess.
Don't feel
But
bad, Mike. I'm big buddies with James, and we're not running team.
Yeah, I
never
agree.
again.
That's true.
So yeah, that's one thing I will 100% say. If you got a good friend, do not team drive. But
It's
together,
it's tough, man.
it's hard. Um, but yeah, I got back into law enforcement in 2020, end of 2021, beginning of 2022. But it's really changed. It's different. The money's not there. The pay is horrible. And as we all know, in Florida, everything is expensive. The cost of living here is through the roof. So trying to survive on a state income is impossible. But so yeah, I've been following you for a while and decided to get back into trucking. So called SFI, talked to Jeff up there, and leased a truck. And see, I go pick it up next week on the 16th, and I'll be in orientation at JB Hunt on Wednesday. So
Yeah, I'm excited for you. I know there's going to be a lot of good things that are going to be coming through for you.
yeah,
And
I'm
Chris
excited to
can,
get back in.
right. Chris can even attest. With what we do. This week's a little different because of the holiday. Anytime you got a holiday like this, just like what Chris was talking about, or with the weather, we had the 4th of July. Now we got the weather. Um, it just seems to screw stuff up when it comes to the supply chain, and it takes a week to get out of it. Now, granted, next week's going to be a lot better. We just take what we can. Even though I didn't get started until Tuesday because we've already talked about that. My load got, not canceled but delayed from Tuesday then to Wednesday. Now even that load got all the way delayed till Thursday. So we had to scramble and find new stuff. So lucky for me, I got Chris and Chad as the dispatcher. And I don't know, does Chad even watch or not? Chris, do you know?
I hadn't told him. Have you even told him we've been doing lives?
Yeah, I didn't tell him we were doing lives, but I told him we've done videos and stuff. But if it wasn't for those guys, I mean, I wouldn't have, I wouldn't get what I get. And scrambling like we have, I still turned out with not a great week like I want, but it's still gonna break where my minimum is, right at 5,000 for the week, and that's just Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I lost Sunday, Monday basically, and
Yeah, you
and
actually
Tuesday.
didn't pick that load up till like Tuesday late, James.
Right.
Wasn't it like 5 or 6 or something when you got
Oh,
up there?
it was 10 o'clock when I got up there. But the
Okay.
thing is, that was 550 miles deadhead just to get up there
Yeah.
because of the stuff that we lost. There was nothing else leaving, out of Florida, and I had to get up to Atlanta to get there. Um, that's again like we always talk about, that's trucking. But if that's what it takes, that's what it takes to make the money.
And to be fair to you, to Mike too, because he's new to this game, we wouldn't have had to run you that far to get you out of the house. There was several things that lined up to cause that to happen. First of all, over here to be successful, we need to plan you a week ahead of time. Well, what happened a week ago? The holidays. People at JB Hunt left at 1300 on Wednesday. They didn't work Thursday. By the time they come in Friday, a lot of the loads that we would have probably had or might would have had were already gone, or the customers, a lot of customers didn't work Friday either. If they know that their employees are going to be drunk and hungover on Friday, so they just shut down 2 days. Well, then that left, and then so we got you a decent load, and you wasn't going to have to run all the way to Cartersville, Georgia. But then what happened with it? Well, because of their holiday, they saw they couldn't get it ready. They were behind. They pushed it back to Tuesday for Monday, and you said, "Well, that's no big deal. I'll just stay at home an extra day." So you
Right.
did, thinking you had that load, and then they pushed it back again. And that's just the crap you deal with these customers around holidays. I hate holidays. Y'all do what you want to, Mike. When you come over here, we'll do whatever you want to. But when there's a holiday in a week, especially on a Monday, I don't work that holiday. Period, because JB Hunt has got a skeleton crew, and it's usually, think about this, guys, and I'm not putting them down. Who they going to make work on that holiday? The newest cat on the block, right? Doesn't
Right.
know what he's doing. And then the shippers the same way. If they're working, they got a skeleton crew. Nobody knows what the heck's going on, and you get screwed every time. I go back to Memorial Day weekend. I got greedy. I knew Monday was a holiday. So I thought I'll be smart and I'll grab a long load on Sunday that I can run through Monday, and everybody will be back to work on Tuesday. Well, guess what happened? Got up there Sunday afternoon to pick up, and somebody made a mistake, and that load picked up 30 days from that day later. So I didn't have, now I don't have a load. I called the wife because she was on the truck, going to get on the truck that night, and I said, it's already a crap show. Just quit packing. We'll leave Tuesday. So I get on the load board, and well, here's this. They're trying to bait you out of the house with this money because they know nobody wants to run on the holiday. Here's this big paying load up in Ohio, 6 hours, Walmart load, going to a Walmart. So I call her back and I said, finish packing. I got us a good load. Picks up, it'll be ready when we get there in the morning. We run 300 miles up there to get there. Their whole computer system's crashed. There's nobody working that knows how to fix it. Long story short, I left home at 12 noon on Sunday. We picked up our first load Tuesday morning at 7 o'clock. So if I'd have just stayed home, we'd have had the same money that we had. And
Uh-oh. The government's came and got him. Well, He'll probably come back on and still be talking, thinking he's been talking this whole time. That's the funny part. We'll give him a minute here and see if he comes back on. If he doesn't, then we'll try something else here. All right, well, go ahead and I don't know, Mike. I mean, tell us. Are you excited? You ready to go? I mean,
I am. I'm ready for the change. I mean, of course, I'm nervous. Anybody would coming into
right.
this, But like I said, I've been following you for a while, and Poppy, and you guys are killing it. So I have high hopes. I'm
Where's
excited.
your wife at? Where's your wife at? Bring her on.
She's drinking at the neighbors.
Tell her to come on over. She can get online too. Where's your boy at?
He's over there watching TV at the neighbors while mom's drinking.
So let me guess. You probably sent them over there so they wouldn't make a whole lot of noise, didn't you?
Well, that too, yeah.
That's funny.
6-year-old, he doesn't stop talking.
Uh-oh, Poppy's back.
So I apologize. As you know, James, we can't go airplane mode or we can't do this. And I get one call a week, and I never know when it's going to be from my 2 grandbabies, and they're trying to
Right.
video call. So it is what it is. But to finish that story, I didn't make any money. I got greedy, Mike. I tried to run 2 extra days right there when I should have just sat at home. And I was actually $400 in the hole because I bought $400 worth of fuel and didn't pick up the first load till Tuesday morning. But that's just trucking, and that's something we talk about all the time. You can't get worked up with that stuff. And with you being in law enforcement, Mike, I feel like that you'll do great because I think your threshold, if you will, for ignorance is probably pretty high. I hope it is. Yeah.
Bear with
And
me,
by
guys.
the
Y'all
way,
keep talking.
Thank you for your service, Mike, and I mean that.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have all the respect in the world for law enforcement. And when James told me you were coming over, he's like, "Now I really want to help this guy," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'll help him because of who he is. I got enough to do without. I just can't do for 25 people what I do." And but for anybody that's done what you've done, I have all the respect for that in the world. And
Thank
we're
you.
going to help to make sure you're successful.
Thank you.
And,
Thank you. I
You
appreciate
just
all
got
the
to
work
look
that you've
long
done.
term. I shared
yeah.
this on a previous live, and I didn't share it to brag or to be arrogant. I thank God for my blessings. But this year, I'm on pace. And you got to remember, this is the worst trucking economy we've seen probably since I got into this in '98. It's the worst freight market that we've had, and I'm going to bust 275 this year. So that's really well for this economy. And just think about all the money we'll make when it finally comes back and turns around. If you can survive this, and people tell you can't do it with an SFI truck, but me and James are doing it, and I know a lot of other people that are doing it, and we've been successful doing it. Now there's people that help us here. Um James knows who I'm talking about, but people like Julie and Kyle and Chad,
Chad.
and yeah, the Chad works hard to make sure we're successful. And so there's people that help us. I got contractor of the month back in March, and I called management and I said, "Listen, I don't deserve this." And they said, "Yeah, absolutely you do." And I said, "No." I said, "The people that help me are the ones that deserve this, but I just drive the truck." And they said, "Oh, no, no, you don't run into stuff. You deliver on time. You make money." But honestly, these people that we were naming, they deserve every bit of the credit for that. James knows it. James and I can't do what we do by ourselves. We got a
Yeah.
good team here at JB Hunt, and I don't say that um, lightly. I mean, we got a good group of people. I said this before. I'll always say it. If JB Hunt gets mad, they just get mad. And we always need to say, James, we don't speak for JB Hunt. We're speaking for ourselves. But we're just like any other big company. We have good people, and we have people probably shouldn't be here. And every company's like that, and we're no different. But we have a great bunch of people here that really make sure James and I get to do what we do.
Um, I'm not going to steal Life on 18 Wheels' idea, but he got with me over the weekend and he wanted to do a video about leasing trucks through SFI because right now a lot of people are putting out a lot of videos about new trucks, SFI trucks, prime trucks, all the different lease purchases, talking about how they're a scam. They are right to a sense, but we're all aware. We all signed the contract of what we get into. But my thing is, if it pays your bills and pays your money, then you know what does it matter? And also, why is it everybody's? Why does anybody care? I don't care which way you do it, but as long as you get to the situation to where you're making the money you need to make as a person or a man, what difference does it make if you get your truck from SFI or if you go to a used truck lot and buy a used truck with, 400,000 miles on it? Me and you both have talked about this in the past, and our opinions are right in line because, I was really close to just taking 10 grand and putting it down and buying a 30, $40,000 truck. But it just doesn't make sense. And everybody always talks, and I'm not going to go into details and give everybody the credit or anything, but there are a lot of videos out there right now going on. And anyway, the meaning of the point of this conversation is I'm not going to steal 18 Life on 18 Wheels' idea because he wants to do a video with me about that, and I will do that in the next couple weeks. Also, Chris, at the beginning before you guys came in, I told the viewers I have a special uh, deal that I'm working out. It's not a sponsorship by any means, but it will be something that will pay us. And the nice thing about it is the more people they get involved in this, everybody gets paid. As it trickles down. I don't want to call it a pyramid thing, but it kind of is. But it provides a service which makes it legal, and when everybody finds out about this, everybody's going to want it. And there's nothing illegal about it at all. It's completely legal. Um, and I don't want to go into a whole lot of details about it, but me and you have talked about it, Chris. Mike, I've said something
Yeah.
to you about it, and it's going to be a game changer. I think once everybody figures it out and how it works and that, everybody's going to
Well,
want
and
it.
I won't name at this point. We won't drop names, but I already have a similar service that I pay quite a bit more a month for, and it actually does a whole lot less than what this is.
Yeah,
Uh, so I already have it. It's not like I won't have it anyway. I
yeah.
already have it. I just
It's
have
the
it with a
same here.
different company.
It's the
Yeah.
same here, man. I've got it with a different company too. But this company, what's really nice is you got several different options to go with it, plus more. Again, I don't want to go into a whole lot of details about it. I want to try the service out, make sure it's going to be good before we actually put our names on it. I'm open to sponsorships, and again, I know my channel's kind of small. I don't know too many people that would want to sponsor it yet, but if there is somebody out there that does, by all means, get a hold of me through my email address. I'd be willing to give anything a shot. But right now, what we're doing is exactly what I want to do. I know there's only 8 people on here. I think that's the most we've had tonight. And like I said, there was a lot of people that did go live right at the same time we did. So that's one of the things that I got to figure out what day we need to go live. I'm still not completely sold on Tuesday because Tuesdays there's a lot of people that go live. Todd does sometimes. The contractor corner guys from Swift, they do. I'd like to figure out what day a lot of people don't go live, and it won't affect what me and you have going because you know just as well as I do. Mondays and Tuesdays usually are our first days out, and it's really tough for us to get to a spot to stop. So I don't really want to do Friday. So maybe Thursday might be the answer. I don't know yet. But we need to
But
figure
in,
that
but
out.
but we do get a whole lot of views on the back end. People
We do.
rewatching it.
We do. Um,
So
I really think this is it. Um, Mike, we've hijacked this show. This show was supposed to have been about you, man. I mean,
No, you're
is
good.
there something you want to talk about?
No, I think we pretty much covered it.
hmm
I'm,
You wanna
it's-
you wanna tell everybody where you left?
yeah. I left the highway patrol here in Florida.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm happy if anybody's got questions. I'm happy to try and answer them about that. if they have legal questions, cop questions.
Just
Well,
remember, you're not.
you better be serious because I'm about to hit you.
You're not bound by the FHP anymore, so you can answer
No,
questions
no,
because
yeah.
I actually, Chris, just to let you know, I actually wanted to bring Mike on the show several weeks ago when we first started talking about this, and I wanted to do a pre-recorded video with Mike just to kind of answer some questions or ask some questions and have a roundabout, but he couldn't. They weren't allowed to do any media with him being FHP. So this
And
is the
I've
best
never
I got.
said this. James and I talk on the phone all the time while we're driving, just bored, beating in time. And I've shared a lot of things. James knows a whole lot, but he doesn't know everything. And one of the things I've never shared with him is I'm a huge fan of the Arkansas State Police. I have watched thousands of hours of them because
Those boys chase.
of their pitting maneuvers. So I'm going to ask the first question. So what is Florida's policy on pitting in a chase? Can they pit at 150 miles an hour like Arkansas does?
Absolutely.
I love it.
Most troopers
they'll run
probably
till the
aren't that
wheels
crazy.
fall off. Yeah, they will roll with the wheels fall off, won't they?
Actually,
Yeah.
FHP just got a new ED, an executive director, and he's very, very aggressive, and he's very, very vocal. He has his own talk show he does on Facebook. What is it? Donut Shop or something like that it's called. And he's talked many times on there about how if you run from my troopers, I have told them to pitch you out as soon as possible and take you off the road, take you out.
Yeah.
Basically, because, I mean, you decide to run, you're endangering the public, you're endangering everybody's lives, and that's what the pit maneuver is designed to do, is to eliminate you from continuing on.
Well, those that know me well, I'm known at JB Hunt. They call me the preacher, and we're not going to take an offering tonight, but it's easy for me to get on this kick because, Mike, as you know, the reason that we have all this stupidity and this lawlessness in a lot of areas is there's no consequences. And until you have consequences, people are going to keep doing it. So they know better in Arkansas. If they run in Arkansas, it ain't going to end but one way, and that's with you pitted out. And if you're lucky, you won't wind up on your top or flipping 5 or 6 or 8 times. They don't play over there, and I'm a huge fan of that. And so I've always, when James first told me you were coming, I was like, oh, I can't wait to ask him what, because, a lot of states, they have these rules. Can't pit over 55 mile an hour, can't pit unless they've shot at somebody. They got all these different rules, man. I'm for getting them off the road. Just as soon as you can catch them, take them out.
With that said, I mean, it's not recommended to pit over 55, 60 miles an hour. It's dangerous, but...
Oh, I've watched some videos of the
I seen
troopers wrecking because of it, or,
Oh, yeah. You get... And some will get a little aggressive and try pitting out an SUV or a pickup truck, and with a Dodge Charger, that a Charger versus a pickup truck trying to pit it, the Charger doesn't do so well.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But...
I've wanted to pit a few in this Freightliner, to be honest with you, Mike.
All right, so I'm going to start reading some of these comments. We've kind of ignored the comments. OTR Vic is in here, or was in here. He says, good evening, Fly Rabbit. We got Life on 18 Wheels. Evening, fellas. Of course, the wife is on here. She's just talking about my Meg O'Malley's hat.
Hi, Nicole.
She said, we all sound great, look good, doing well. Life on 18 Wheels said, she wants to, actually, Nicole said she wants to hear more about Mike. We'll get on to Mike again here again. Where are you at? Were you part of DOT unit, Mike? I can probably explain that.
No, I was not.
He also wants to know, Arkansas State Troopers can't catch the infamous black ghost.
Yeah, sometimes that's true.
I don't know what the black ghost is, do you?
Yeah, me and Mike do. I'm sure he's watched them. Yeah, they have the black. They go blackout. They'll turn all their lights off,
Yeah.
and they have some cars over there that they have been a little bit unable to catch that run. I think kind of run from them for sport sometimes, but it ain't very many. They catch most of them.
That sounds like shit that I used to do when I was a kid. I mean, back in the day, man, when in high school and stuff, with some of the hot rod cars that we had old Mustangs, old Fox bodies. We used to try to outrun the cops before we came cops. I know you did too, Mike. We talked about it in the past. Pull in a driveway, turn your lights off real quick, and watch the cops go past.
Yeah,
But that's
yeah.
many, many moons ago.
I can tell this story now for fun, just because the statute of limitations has run out. but I was 15, and we were going to this little Assembly of God church in Oklahoma, and I'd been driving since I was about 10 on the highway. I grew up in farmland and drove hay trucks, and we was cutting wood, and I was raking hay by the time I was 10 years old. But anyway, the church had this hayride, and it was cold as crap. It was in October, and it was cold and unusually cold. So me and this buddy of mine, we decided we wasn't going to go to the hayride because it was too cold. Well, then come the night of the hayride, we was kind of regretting not going. So my buddy, he was older. He was 16. He had this black or red and white Chevrolet pickup 454. Chevrolet. So he decides that it's a great idea. We go to Walmart and buy a bunch of balloons and fill them with water, and we're going to go water balloon the hayride as they're going through the country. So I'm in the back and he's driving. So we pass them and I'm just blasting them with water balloons, and it's cold. So we go down the road a ways and he says, "Well, you drive. I want to hit them." So I take off and I'm here. I don't have a driver's license. I'm 15. You get a permit at 15 and a half, but I didn't have one. So I'm driving and he's gonna hit him. So we hit him again and we stop and he gets in the cab, and instead of driving, he gets in on the passenger side. Well, I see this car coming down the road towards us, and it's a skinny, narrow 2-lane road. And I can tell the car's like stopped in the road. It's or barely moving. So I'm like, oh, what is this? So we get up there closer to it, and I don't remember. I don't think there's blue at the time, Mike. I think they were red. But the lights come on. It's an Oklahoma State Trooper. And here we are. And my daddy's a preacher, man. And you had to know my daddy. My daddy was the type. He said, if you get in trouble at school, you better enjoy it, because when you get home, I'm going to beat the ever living tar out of you. And so I'm thinking, well, I'm worried more about daddy than I am the trooper. So I'm like, what are we going to do? And my buddy goes, gas it. So we blow by the guy, and it takes him forever to get turned around on this little road, And I don't even know where we're at. This is new territory to me. And my buddy goes, hey, there's a dirt road coming up. Hang a right on it. Well, so I hang this right on this road, and it had previously just rained, and it was like really muddy. Well, when I turned that corner, I guess I had my foot on the brake lightly or some, and the disc brakes on the front of that Chevrolet locked, and I was sliding in the ditch. And I didn't know what I was doing. I just happened to get lucky, and I let off the brakes, and it straightened up, and I went on down that road, and here comes that trooper, and I'm looking in the mirror, and he flies around that corner and slides right off in that ditch. So we got away. We get home, and I didn't sleep that night a wink, Mike. I was praying, oh, God. I was waiting for that knock on the door, because I was like, did he get the tag number, And not a word was ever said about that. And I was scared of my daddy for about 2 weeks, wondering if the police was going to come. But I got away with it. I was 15 years old. That's 40 years ago. 40 years ago.
So Jermaine McDonald, he asked a question, says, can you all help me? And I told him, I said, just go ahead and post your question on here. And he says, yes. So I'm waiting on him to ask his question, whatever it is he wants to ask. And Life on 18 Wheels did clarify that Black Ghost is a modified Dodge Charger that's been terrorizing the Arkansas State Police for a long time now.
Yeah.
So let me tell you, while we're waiting on Jermaine to type something. So I got a little story too. You were talking about yours. My buddy in high school, this is before I bought any Mustangs because I was always the Mustang guy. But my buddy had a 280 Datsun ZX. You remember those cars?
I don't.
The Datsuns, you remember them, Mike, don't you? The Nissan 300s. You know what a Nissan 300 is, right? The little sports car, the two-seater. Man, you guys are smoking something, man. Anyway, the Datsun 280Z sports cars, man. He had one of those, and where we lived at, we had some farmland. You go 20 miles outside the city, and we had farmland, and he, for whatever reason, he knew the place to go to, and there was a big hill. And let me tell you what, he got that daggone car up to about 80, 90 miles an hour, and we played Little Dukes of Hazzard. And I'm surprised that car landed all in one piece. But you do stupid things when you're young, and I remember, before I became an officer, drag racing, across the Sherman Minton Bridge in Louisville, and it's a double decker bridge in Louisville is what it is. We would start off on the Indiana side and stop traffic basically at midnight, stop traffic, hit the horn 3 times, and then take off. And then once you get to Louisville side, you had to take a couple U-turns in here and there, get back on the bridge and go on the bottom half and race back over to the Indiana side. And they could never catch us. So that's what we used to do, is crazy stuff as kids. So let's see if Jermaine ever brought anything up. Jermaine says, I have an SFI truck, but still with Schneider. And there's a lot of people that I was with that went to JB Hunt. And I believe I'm going to do the same thing shortly. I'm just looking for consistency. Consistency is basically what you make of it. If you really want to run hard, you can definitely run hard here. I have not sat still since I've been here. SFI is a fickle company. They will tell one person one thing and another person another thing. Me to transfer my truck was $500 to SFI. Chris,
they've offered to let me. I almost transferred mine to F2F once. They wanted 500. I almost transferred it to Landstar once. They wanted 500. That's all they've ever asked me to move it. Well, I take that back now. I talked to them about transferring it to Mercer, and they asked me, I believe it was 2,500. And I said, why so much? And he said, because we get a lot of them back. And I said, okay, that makes me not want to go there. So,
right.
He also
asked, do you all have dispatchers or do we dispatch ourselves? So I'll let Chris answer that question because that's easier for him to say how he does it.
We dispatch ourselves. If you've got a good coordinator, we call them. Trying to be careful what I say. We're like every other company. We're like Snyder, the company that you're at. Is this the guy that's asking the one that's at Snyder? Okay, so I'm gonna answer this in general. Every single trucking company out here, I don't care if it's JB Hunt, Snyder, USA, I don't care who it is. Unless you're running at F2F or Advance or somewhere where you're running true load boards. True load boards meaning truckstop.com, DAT-board, Truck Smarter, CH Robinson. Unless you're running a true load board, no trucking company that we're talking about puts every load they have on their board. There's a lot of reasons for that. One is just as simple as they don't have the computer, and I'm a computer idiot, so I'm going to sound like one. They don't have the brain power to do that, because you do a search for a certain area and you put in 100 miles and they got 2,000 loads, and it tried to load 2,000 loads on your phone, and then Mike's trying to do it and you're trying to do it, and it just shut everything down. That's a real simple answer, but they don't have the ability to do that. So you book the loads that you see that you like, and if you need a load out of a certain area and there's not one showing, you can call your coordinator and say, hey, I need a load out of this area on this day. Can you help me get something? And they have they can go to brokerage, or they can try to help get you a load. Now, I've known drivers that have told me, and they have no reason to lie. These are good friends of mine, that their coordinator has told them it's not my job to help you get loads. And I can tell you right now that me and that coordinator wouldn't get along, and I'd be on the phone to management getting a new coordinator. But that's you just not you know me, James. I just don't put up with crap.
Right.
Because
So
I just ask them, what are we paying you for? You know,
Right.
your job is
So-
to make me successful.
So he said that he knows the word consistency is a joke. Jermaine, I just gave you my email address. Feel free to give me a contact. Just email me, drop your phone number in. I'll call you. We'll talk. Again, I'm not trying to recruit you. I'm just trying to help you. I've got two other guys that are right now that are over at Schneider, trying to convince them too that it's a lot better over here. I started at Schneider, did their 3 months, and saw that I couldn't make any money. And you're right, consistency is a joke. But let me tell you what, since I've been over here at JB Hunt, I haven't grossed less than $4,900. And the lowest that I've grossed at $4,900 was the first week that I was here. And that was the week that I only drove 3.5 days. And I even put that in my video. All other weeks, I've been over $5,000. And just as well as I do, Jermaine, at Schneider, you're lucky to make $3,500, $4,000, because that's all I was making. If it wasn't for the $6,000 sign-on bonus, I would have went broke. I mean, that's kind of what kept me afloat for the most part. And it paid for my truck to get it over here. They weren't too happy about it, but you know what? I wasn't making any money. But if you come over to JB Hunt, I can promise you, you'll do a lot better over here. The loads. The loads pay better over here. There's not as many to choose from, but in the long run, they do pay better. What you got to do is kind of what we've done. You find a triangle or a square or whatever that works for you. I don't know where you live at or anything like that. With me, it's very difficult for me to get out of Florida. I had to deadhead over 500 miles yesterday to get my first load to get me started for the week. Unfortunately, every week I'm deadheading 200, 300 miles because I live in Florida. Now, if you live in a better spot within the triangle that we like to run, which is mostly the Southeast and the Midwest, do not go past I-35. And honestly, Indiana, Illinois, maybe Chicago, that's about as far north as we've gotten. I have gone to Wisconsin, but we don't go there very often. We have a triangle that we run. Don't go into the Northeast at all. If you stay consistent in that triangle, if you live in that triangle, I think you could be very successful over here like we are. My success is only because of Chris helping out and our coordinator that we have. If it wasn't for that, it would be very difficult.
To be consistent, just the pure definition of it, you got to do the same thing all the time. And so what I mean by that is you got to get out of the house on the same day. And you go into the house. You got to decide how often you want to go home. Now, I've been here 15 months, so it's not really probably fair for me to say this compared to new guys, because I pretty much know every customer we got and all the freight we got, so I can take care of myself. But after you've been here for a minute and you learn where things are at, if you're willing to stay out and not go home every weekend and just chase the money, you can consistently do 5,500 to 6 here. It's hard to do that and go home every weekend. And when I say go home every weekend, most time I'm home 48 hours. So I struggle, as you know, James, I struggle to do better than 5. Okay.
Right.
I had 62 booked this week, and I lost a 950. So that, but I got 150 for truck not used, so I really only lost 8. So by losing that load, I'm going home this weekend for 2 days, but instead of making 62, I'm going to make 54. Well, if you know anything about numbers, 54 is excellent in this economy and in this
And
market
going home.
and going home. So consistency's there, but what you can't just you gotta it wasn't your fault, James, this week. So I want to be clear about that, okay? But you got home daylight Saturday morning, and you didn't leave till Tuesday, okay?
That's right.
That wasn't your fault. It was the load, the shipper, the
Hey,
holidays, and all
had
that.
a great week last week money wise. This
You
week is going to
can't,
be good
but
too.
you can't do that and expect 5,500 and 6,000 a week. It just ain't gonna work. And James doesn't do that. He goes to work. He just got screwed by the shipper. But there's going to be weeks when things are out of your control. But on average, if you can't average 20 grand a month here, you're doing something wrong. You're doing
I
something wrong.
agree. So more questions have popped up. Life on 18 Wheels has a question for Mike. He said, "Why the switch?" I think that's an easy question, but you answer.
Well, money. Bottom line, money. Working for the state, you don't make nothing. You get peanuts. And Florida, especially not living in Florida, just this year, my homeowner's insurance doubled and my car insurance doubled. Gas prices are high, groceries are high, everything's high in Florida. It's just on a state income, I can't afford it.
Well, Mike and I have not even talked. He's not shown me anything. But I'll answer that question like this, and I'll back it up with proof. As you know, James, I've showed you my settlements. I've screenshot them and sent them to you. 9 out of 10 weeks, I took home $3,100 to $3,600 a week. 9 out of 10 weeks, and I can promise you, the Florida State Patrol ain't taking home $3 grand a week.
No, that's about my monthly salary.
Yeah, yeah. So
my wife gave me a little kudos. Said I'm a hard-working and safe driver. So that's what she told me. She said, "You're correct, Poppy. You drivers need a supportive wife that understands that, and that right there alone is 100%." And I'm glad that your wife is understanding that, Mike.
Is Nicole not on our 360 app? Because she might not be saying everything she just said if she's on there.
No, she's not on that one. I have one for us. But she said supportive family and mental health is very important with the drivers. Most definitely. Most definitely.
Yeah, I was just home for 9 days, and my wife called today, and she said, "I hate to say this, but I do miss you."
That's funny. That's funny. Well. Who else we got on here? Jermaine, are you still on here? If you are, pop up a question, bud. We'd love to give you a help out, man. Give you some advice, maybe bring you over.
Yeah, and then I would say this to Jermaine. If you want to, and I got to give credit because I stole this line from Dave Ramsey. But if you want to make what I make, you got to do what I do. And what I do is I get out of that house Sunday night at 8 o'clock, or I get out of that house Monday morning at 8 o'clock every week. I don't take no extra days off unless it's vacation time. And I don't get home till Friday sometime. And this week I'm getting home Saturday. But so you can't, you got to run like I run if you want to make what I make. Me and James run, I don't think he cares for me saying this, but we run 32 to 3,500 miles every week in 5 days. A lot of people say, "Oh, you can't do that." Well, hide and watch. I do it every week. I'll take a picture of the ELD and show you. It's nothing for me to log 730 miles in a day.
So, Mike, life on 18 wheels, what's your goal other than make money? Just to let you know, Life on 18 Wheels is a buddy of mine. He was on my live show last week. He's on here all the time too. He's a good guy, but he wants to know what your goals are other than just make money.
My goals are, well, I know James and I have talked about this, about being a business owner. That I don't have somebody else telling me when I can take off or what I need to do. I can make my own choices, make my own decisions, and basically I'm in the driver's seat of how much money I can make or want to make. Um, my goals are to make as much money as I possibly can, support my family. I know my wife has one hell of a list of stuff she wants to buy now, like a pool and all that stuff. But so I don't know if I'll ever be coming home. But yeah, I guess my goal is to eventually own the truck and just kill it. Be out there, work hard. James knows I run hard. I team drove with him, and that truck was never stopped. I mean,
Buddy, we did 6,500 miles a week in that truck usually. You know that?
yeah, we just.
But when I came, see, I went into semi-retirement too, Mike, and got out of trucking in 2006, and I had a business at home, a construction business, and what got me back into this was the year before I came back out of the house, and I had made up my mind I was coming, and I was going to be an owner operator this time. I had buddies, and I can name them on here, and I won't because, to my knowledge, they've never talked money on their channels, and I'm not about to do that for them without their permission. But I had buddies that's on YouTube right now that I could name that everybody knows who I'm talking about. They were paying taxes on $5,000 and $6,000 a week after all expenses, and I'm talking they had truck payments higher than me and James's got. And I was like, man, I want some of this. Well, when I came back out of the house, unlike you, Mike, I couldn't get it. We got you approved. We kind of got you an override, with the experience thing. With every company wants something a little different, and we were able to get you approved, but I wasn't able to get approved, and I had to start over like a rookie. I had to go with a driver. I had to go through 2 weeks of orientation. I had to go with a driver trainer for 2 weeks. And then I did 11 months as a company driver before I got my first truck. And during that time, the market took a nosedive. And so I've not got to make any of that big money. The biggest check I've ever had in a week was $3,800. And it's not greed. It's a challenge to me. I mean, it's like a game to me. I want to see what I can. I'm excited about what I can make if we can get this market back up. I'd like to get some of that money.
That's funny that you brought that up because that's exactly how I view it too, as a challenge. It's a challenge. Just every week it's a challenge. Hey, I'm gonna better. I'm gonna better. I'm gonna better. All right, so we got some more questions. My wife says to make sure Mike knows to use love showers. She also said you may miss birthdays, holidays, anniversaries. Are you willing to sacrifice those to achieve your goals? That's one of the most important things. And a lot of the holidays, you're going to be home anyways for the most part. The important ones anyways. OTR Vic came on here and he asked, what insurance do you all use for your SF5 trucks? Right now, Vic, just to be honest with you, we're using the policy that JB Hunt has because honestly, you can't beat it. It's very cheap. It's cheaper than any of the other companies that I've been to. We've talked about it, and again, this is me and Poppy about getting our own policies out of JB Hunt, and that way being one step further from that. If I'm not mistaken, I think you're from the Charlie and Jeff thing with Contractors Corner OTR. I could be wrong, but I think you are. But one thing that Charlie and Jeff always says is to distance yourself from Swift as far as you can. Well, it's the same thing here. We're going to try to distance ourselves from JB as soon as we can and get our own insurance. We've talked about it, and again, that's something that's in the near future. But right now, the problem is with the expense of the truck, the insurance just makes sense. Chris, what are we paying? Like less than $100 a week in insurance?
Yeah,
100
I'm
and a
paying
quarter?
70. I'm paying 75 or 74
Yeah.
or
I don't.
something. But my truck's a couple years older than yours.
Yeah, I don't think mine's over $100 if I'm not mistaken.
And let
Um,
me tell everybody the reason that we want to do that, because we forget sometimes. A lot of these people that haven't done what we do don't know why we say stuff or why we do stuff. So the way it works is when you're going through a carrier, whether it be Snyder or JB Hunt for your insurance, when you go to leave there, they're going to require you to go to a terminal, and they're going to pull your tags off because you're running their tags. They're going to pull their ELD out. They're going to pull their decals off. And as soon as they do, they're going to cancel your insurance effective as of midnight that day. So unless you can get that truck to the company's terminal that you're going to, or get it, or work out a deal somehow, and it don't always work out to get the new insurance started, SFI will not let you in. They will not let you have this truck one day without insurance, because you say, "Well, I'm at home." It doesn't matter. It could burn down in the yard, whatever. So you got to have insurance. So what that means is, if you don't figure out a way around that, you have to buy what's called temporary insurance, and you usually get it for 7 to 10 days, and you have to have insurance while you're moving the truck. Well, that's just an extra $400 out of your pocket for 10 days insurance that you don't get back. But if you have your own insurance, and there's places that you can get it, but I priced it at Progressive, and they were almost double what I pay now. So that's a no-go for me. But if you
well,
had it at an insurance company, you could pull from one company to the next and never have to worry about spending that temporary insurance money, because the insurance wouldn't be tied to the company.
ask Mike. He'll tell you exactly what the cost of that 10-day insurance is. How much is it, Mike?
$363.11, I believe it was.
Did
10
you
And
get
it's good
days.
that
for
through
10
True
days, right?
North, Mike?
Yes, sir. True North.
And it's
Okay.
just for 10 days too, right?
Yep, 10 days.
Yeah.
Because
See, that would
Life on
pay
18
what?
Wheels had to Life on 18 Wheels had to do the same thing with his truck to go to Landstar.
Yeah, see, my insurance, that would cover a month at what me and James pay.
Yep.
So,
But OTR, I hope that answers your question. That's why we have the insurance what we have right now. It's because of that. Well, we got up to 14 people. We still got 9 people on here. If anybody has any questions, pop them up. Jermaine says he's going to contact me. He said he's tired of going negative. I don't think I ever went negative at Schneider, but there were some smaller paychecks.
let me
Life
tell
on
you,
18 Wheels.
I've been here 15 months, okay? 15 months. The smallest check in 15 months I've ever had in my life was somewhere around $1,200, and that was on a holiday week, like Thanksgiving week, where I came out of the house on Monday, delivered on Tuesday, picked the load up, delivered on Wednesday, went back home, and I made like $1,200. I've never ever went in a hole, except now I took off last week. I didn't work. Okay, so come this Friday, SFI, I've already called my rep and said, "Hey, Nate, I didn't work last week." He goes, "I appreciate you letting me know." Because what happens is they're going to try to debit JB Hunt on Friday. And if you've not told them, JB Hunt's not going to pay them because you didn't have the money to pay them. So then they're going to go put you in what's called past due, and then collections is going to start calling you. But if you call ahead of time, I just gave Nate verbal permission on the phone. Just pop my business account on Friday, and he's already got it set up. So on Friday, they'll just pop my business account. So if you want to call that being $1,200 in the hole for my payment and my maintenance, I'm in the hole. Now on JB Hunt's part, my fixed cost is $300 a week. So I'm in the hole, $300 to JB Hunt. So this week, when they take their money out of my check, they're going to pop me for $600. But outside of that, I'm talking about when I was willing, able, and showed up to work, I've never had a check less than $1,200. Never. And that was for 3 days. So I can't relate to these people that talk about I worked 6 or 7 days and I didn't get a paycheck. And you and I both know there was one YouTuber who got out of trucking, and every time I watched one of his videos, I didn't get a check this week. I didn't know him well, so I don't know why he wasn't getting a check. But if you work 5 days, 6 days a week, and you don't get a check, there's a problem.
Did you see what he's doing now, by the way?
I did, yeah. Mm-hmm.
He is
That's right up my line of work, vacation planner.
Yeah, he's a cruise planner now is what he is.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
very funny. You know, and me and you both have talked about him in the past. We've watched his videos, learned a lot from him.
Yep.
And
What not to do.
Still, yeah, exactly what not to do. And I still honestly can't figure out what he did wrong other than maybe it was the deadhead. You and I both have talked about this. Unfortunately, in today's market, we have to deadhead. That's just the way it is. And I've heard a lot of the other truckers that are out here, you know, that have said the same thing. Their deadheads are getting bigger. So got some more things that have popped up. Let me read here. Life on 18 Wheels says that sounds about the same price that he paid for his insurance too, Mike. Country popped on here and said, hey, and I told him you missed a good show. And he said, you need to start texting and reminding me before you go live. Well, Country, in that, you need to subscribe, hit the bell, and like the comments, and maybe you'll get the notifications. I think the notifications go out automatically, but I will let you know. I haven't really decided yet for sure what days we're going to do these lives. We were talking about that earlier in the broadcast. Right now, I'm going to stick with Tuesdays at 8. I think that's our best option for now. We've talked about possibly Thursdays, but when that changes, I'll let everybody know. It just happened to be Wednesday this week because I got a late start out. I had some delays on a couple loads. Chris Poppy had some late things too. I didn't mean to put your name out there, but
No, that's
Poppy
fine.
had some
That's fine.
Poppy had some late things out there too, and we just got a little bit behind this week because of the holiday, and unfortunately Poppy's down in Houston with the weather, so he you know, we got behind. That's just the way stuff happens sometimes. And he says, "Don't you dare speak to that YouTube crap on me, bro." That's funny. He said, "Don't speak that." That's because he's always saying that. Just like all YouTubers, you know, I'm bad about it. I need to start saying it too because that's probably one of the reasons why my channel. I mean, believe it or not, I think my channel's grown pretty big in the last 6 months. Last time I checked, it was 857 subscribers. You know, I remember, you know, just in May, I was only at 500. So it's really grown just in the last, you know, 3 to 4 months. It's really grown. But I have gotten a little bit more active at it though too, especially, you know, I did the Schneider journey, you know, the first 3 days of orientation, and I tried to put out a video every week. I'm trying to put out at least 1 or 2 videos a week now and doing these lives. I mean, you know, all these things get hits, and believe it or not, and it really surprises me that the lives don't get more hits more often than the pre-recorded shows. That's what really surprises me.
And we got a lot of interesting things to talk about, James, and you and I both have talked about this. I don't want to get into all that till we start getting a little bit better turnout on these because I don't want to waste it. I mean, you and I have got some pretty good contacts. We can get some people on here that will really enlighten some people, and I don't want to waste that on a handful of people. I'd like to wait till we get a little bit better following on these before we go into some of this stuff.
We won't go into your background, what kind of contacts you have, being in the music business for so long. You got all kinds of good contacts.
Yeah.
Hey, why don't you call Clay Walker and see if he wants to go on our show? What do you think?
I could probably get Clay.
Or maybe Tony Justice or something.
Tony Justice would be a great one, and you know, Tony. Some people may know who Tony is, and some may not. His drummer lives about 30 miles from me, and I actually agreed to do 20 trucking shows with him last year, And then the wife throwed a hissy fit because she said, "You ain't never home anyway. You gonna go do that? You never will be home." So in order to keep her happy, I kind of called him and said, "Hey, I'm gonna have to bow out."
Well, so here's the deal, man. And this is something that, I actually, believe it or not, Todd really liked this, Trucker Todd, that is. It was something that I had in my mind. And again, I'm not comparing whether who it was my idea or his idea, but I want to go to the trucking show next year again in Louisville. Usually it's like the last weekend of March. Mike, you're welcome to go. Chris, you're going to go. And we're going to have a good time because there's all kinds of fun things to do. We, especially with this YouTube channel, we can have some shirts, hats, and stuff like that made up. Try to get this out there. And it's just fun. We can get our name out there, grow this YouTube channel, get a lot of subscribers, and get things going. And Country, that might be something for you to look into also, if you decide you want to do it. Let me go through some more of these comments here.
While you're reading, James, let me put a quick plug in. So I live in a little
Yep.
town called Lebanon, Virginia. We have about 800 people. And we have a trucking company there called Kaiser Trucking. And Greg and his daddy, they've got about, I'm going to guess, 40 chicken trucks, we call them. They're W900 Kenworths and Peterbilt long hoods, and they've got chrome dump buckets and chrome cattle trailers. They started a trucking show there in our little town, and it's in August, and it goes Friday and Saturday, and then they wrap it. And believe it or not, for our little town, we had about 60 show trucks entered there. It's been going on now, I guess, about 3 years. And we've had Tony Justice come play it, but anyway, on Saturday night, the coolest thing is at dark they do a parade with the light show. They turn all the lights on these chicken trucks. They got ground lights, and man, the town turns out. I mean, it's like the main street's lined with little kids, getting them to blow the horn, and it's a cool thing, James. You need to try to come up in August that weekend. Just tell your wife you're gonna have to stay out that weekend. You can stay with me at the house, but it's a lot of fun. It's more. I haven't been to the big like Matt's, but the small town feel is just phenomenal, and they have the food trucks and everything. It's awesome, man. I'm looking forward to it this year. Greg Kaiser Trucking. You can look it up on YouTube. I don't remember who it was. It might have been one of the big YouTubers.
When does that show happen?
We'll have to Google it. It's in August. I want to say around August 8th, maybe. First part of August, and it's a nice. I mean, I've got pictures that I could show you. Bottomie. Everybody knows who Bottomie is. The yellow trucks up there in Fort Chiswell or Mount Airy. I guess Mount Airy. They have a show truck that's won at Louisville. So, Greg Kaiser's won at Louisville, but Bottomie, man, they've got like a $40,000 sound system on this truck. They got subwoofers and everything mounted between the spreads on the cattle trailer.
Okay.
And when they come down the street, man, it sounds like a country show's come to town, dude. It is unreal. Kids just eat it up.
Yeah, I think it's necessary that we do that. Most definitely. So some of these, I spilled a drink. That's what I had to clean up. But let's get these comments here. My wife says, we have a good thing going on here, and she's calling me a diva because of all my trolls. But she loves me. Country said, I think the little group of people I talk to are generally great people, which is why I talk to them. And Country, I've told you before in person, your show, the way you put it together, it's, it's like you're talking to the people. You said it perfectly. You talk to these people like they're in the truck with you, riding with you, and you're explaining everything to them. And honestly, that's kind of why I picked up on your channel, and whatever that little music is you have in the background really kind of flows with your channel, and you're very creative. And I told Life on 18 Wheels, he needs to put out more videos too, because the silly shit that he puts in his video really makes who he is, with the little crazy music in the background and the way he describes stuff. And until recently, he never really showed his face until he came on my show. But that's what makes his show. More comments. I don't think the other guy's heart was into trucking. Maybe he'll find luck booking Disney cruises. I think he's talking about our guy that we were talking about.
Yeah.
Whether you have one view or 1,000 show videos should always have the same energy. Yeah, I agree with you. I try to put somewhat of the same energy in every show that I do and every pre-recorded video that I do. Life on 18 Wheels. You're not going to invite your good old buddy. Don't start with me on that. I've already told you you're welcome to go. I've got a group of people, probably 12 strong, that have pretty much tried to commit to go to this show with us. And Nicole said she would allow that, Poppy. I'm assuming she's talking about that truck show that you were talking about. But if you've never been to one of these truck shows, I mean, they are definitely fun to go to. There are so many things. There's so many outfitters, from chrome wheels to chrome brush guards to, the actual manufacturers of the truck. Once again, I think we've hijacked this show.
Yeah.
Mike, talk. tell us what you want to do. Do you think there's some fun into this, or is it just?
Absolutely. I had a blast when I was driving.
Yeah.
I missed that, so I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking outside. Somebody wants to try and move something here. That guy that parked in front of us is trying to. Well, the guy next to me is actually trying to get out. I'm waiting to see what he wants to do. Oh man, what a day! I think I ended up driving like 600 something miles today. I started in what the hell's he doing? I don't know. Anyway, I started in Cartersville, Georgia, and got all the way to in Missouri, whatever this town is, Haiti or whatever in Missouri, which really, that was some driving. I know you did some driving too. I was watching you on the app too, Chris. You were doing some driving.
Yeah, I've only put in 400 today. Well, that doesn't, a little bit more.
Well, you end up sitting for a while though too.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to run a couple hundred more here when we get finished. I want to get on up to Jonesboro before I lay down, so I'll be really close to Orlando tomorrow night. I'll probably be, where I'll be, down on 231 about the Florida line.
Right.
That load's already ready. It was ready this morning. It wasn't promised until tomorrow, but it's ready, sitting there. So all I got to do is run in and grab it. Yeah. Head to Florida. I love Florida. I can't afford to live in Florida, but I like to go down there and visit.
It's hot. It's hot right now. It's hot.
Yeah. Well, it ain't no hotter than Texas. I laid down last night. When I parked up last night in Texas, I shut down about 6 o'clock, and I always check the temperature to decide what I'm going to do on AC. And right. I thought, okay, because with these EPUs we got, if it's real hot, like 100, if you run them wide open, my batteries are 2 years old, so they're going to crank. It's going to crank twice during the night. Yep. And every time it cranks, that runs at high idle, which burns more fuel. So I looked at it at 6 o'clock last night. It was 98 degrees. So I said, you know what? We just going to sit here and idle till we go to sleep on slow idle, because it don't burn but about a half a gallon on slow idle. So I ran the truck for about 5 hours before I laid down, which I don't normally do. And then I set the EPU, and it's cranked one time, but I think it finally got down in the lower 70s last night. But it was hot when I got down there. I mean, it was like step out of the truck, take your breath hot,
Yeah, that's what it is here now.
I'm the same way, man, with the EPU, and that's something you're going to figure out too, Mike, is with the EPU, it does well if it's not over 90 degrees. If you get over 90 degrees, that's when it starts struggling. And sometimes it just gets so hot you got to start the truck up. I don't know if yours is the same way, Chris, or not, but mine,
No, I
it gets
was
too
in. I
hot.
ran a Frito Lay load last year too. The only time I ever did it, and I got away with it. I wouldn't recommend it, by the way. Any of you JB Hunt guys see this video, but I ran a Whitestown to Phoenix, and I got the Phoenix. It's 118 degrees. And all my
Wow.
buddies with APUs was crying the blues. Their APU wouldn't keep up, blah blah blah. And they'll tell you that these EPUs, they're not designed to cool the whole truck. You're supposed to pull the curtains behind the driver
Right.
and just cool the sleeper. Well, I don't do that. My curtains are closed right now just cause the video, but I never close those curtains. I pull the ones around the windshield, and it was 118 degrees in Phoenix, and my EPU kept up just fine. I'd say it was 72 in here. Now, if I wanted to get it down to 65 or something stupid, it wouldn't do that. But I mean, I run 2 or 3 fans anyway for noise, and 72 with a couple fans running, I'm good. And so that was 118 outside, and I didn't have to run my truck. So
So Country says that he went a whopping 240 miles today, but I was in a dock for 5.5 hours. So I got to tell you, Country, I haven't watched your latest video that came out today. So you finally got the solar panels off. And just to give you a side story about them solar panels, when I worked at Christensen, and I did it at least 3 or 4 times, you got to be careful with them solar panels because if you go out to the solar farm in the dirt and the mud, especially with the kind of stupid weather, the rain and everything that we have, you're going to get stuck. And that's what happened to me with that Peterbilt that I had. I was at a point where I was getting stuck, and I told the guys there that were unloading, I said, guys, you're going to have to take one of them tractors, to pull me out. And I'm talking about, farm tractors that they were using to unload these solar panels with. And they said, nope, we're not allowed to do that. I'm like, what do you mean you're not allowed to do it? Well, you're going to have to call for a tow truck. And I said, well, that's not going to happen. So I got back in the truck and eventually wheeled it out. But they've got those solar panels, I mean, so close together that it's very hard to get a 53-foot trailer in there. I mean, once I got the truck going, I literally had to move the tandems all the way to the very front so it would swing the shortest, and I was still barely making it before I was going to hit one of them solar panels. So when you do that kind of work, you got to be very careful, especially with the weather. I did watch your video before. You said you didn't know if you were delivering to the company or if you were going to actually be delivering on the solar panels. So that's kind of what caught my attention on that. So Life on 18 Wheels said he dealt with 115 degrees the other day in Charlotte. My
whew.
wife says she's out. Great show. Mike, you made a great move. Country said, fortunately, I went to a warehouse, not a farm. Well, that's awesome that you went to the warehouse and not a farm because the farms, it's interesting to watch them do that. But at the same time, like I said, you got to be very careful. Anyway, that's pretty much it. I think we're kind of getting somewhat to the end. If there's anybody that's got any questions, we're up to actually 13 people right now, which is almost where we were a little while ago. Surprisingly, we're still pulling people. Anybody got any questions? Anybody that's still on here? I actually think we did really well on our live tonight for what we've been handed to us. Mike, I appreciate you coming on the show. I think you're going to do just fine over here, like I always have told you. I've been trying to get you over here for over a year. I say over here, but into the leasing game over a year. I've been successful at all the companies I went to. I just didn't get to the success that I wanted. Let's put it that way. I have always made money. I don't think I've ever had a negative paycheck at any of the companies I've ever been with. I've had better paychecks than others, but I don't think I've ever went negative. It's just it's a challenge and it's a sacrifice.
Well, what the goal should be for me, I guess I should just say my opinion. I'm not going to take the risk and do the work I do and book my own loads and all this crap that I have to do. I'm not going to do it for the same money a company driver makes. if I'm going to do that, I can go to Walmart there at home and pull. I can go to work for Walmart and make $1,800, $2,000 a week and have benefits and everything else. So why would I want to come over here and do this for $1,500 a week? That'd just be dumb. Now, I will say this: when the market turns around, these trucking companies have took a bath on these company drivers because they're not making enough to afford. They're going in the hole. A lot of them are showing losses. And so when it does turn around, they're going to want to get some of their money back. And those company drivers are not going to get a raise. And if they do, let's say they get 2 cents a mile and they run 2,500 miles a week, that's $50 a week raise that they're going to get, James. You and I will go from $2,500 to $3,000 paychecks to $4,500, $5,000. I mean, we're going to get big raises. They're not going to get big raises. They're going to get. So we're surviving right now. We're in survival mode. We're just trying to hang on.
So Country is asking who Mike is. That's funny. He missed the first part of the show. He wants to know who Mike is. Mike?
Well, James and I met Mike in jail when he arrested us, and no, I'm just kidding about all that.
But. So Country, I'll make it real easy. Mike was Florida Highway Patrol up until about 9 o'clock this morning. Mike is a good friend of mine. We've been friends for a long time. We've teamed together with FedEx Ground. He's driven a truck for off and on for what, about 7-8 years or so with different companies?
5 years now.
Yeah. He did a lot of company drivers. He's never taken the stab at the lease. This is his first time. And it's something that I've been bugging with him for about a year with. And he's one of the guys, Country, I told you there's about 4 guys that I was talking to trying to get over. Well, he happens to be one of those guys, and you're another one that you need to get your ass over here too. So 18 Wheels ask,
Is Country the one that is Country the one that was interested in the Laredo stuff, James?
Yep, that's him.
I made a lot of money running out of Laredo, Texas to North Carolina about a year ago.
So, Mike, tell him what kind of truck you got.
2024 International. So I pick it up next Tuesday.
His truck's just like mine, 18 Wheels, except his is going to be black. Just like Henry Ford said, you can have any color you want as long as it's black. Country said, hey, Mike, repeat after me. I'm the special guest, and I'm ready to speak. Again, he's telling us that we're talking too much. Country, you need to mind your own business, man.
Yeah, I done figured out that Mike's a quiet guy.
Well, let me tell you, I've known James for many years. Trying to get a word in sometimes, yeah.
Oh, stop it. You're a type A personality, too. You know that. You know it. Trust me, we got plenty of cop stories we could talk about.
Oh yeah, I could tell you some more about getting away with running from the cops, but we don't want to get past. We don't want to get past it. We don't want to get in the statute of limitations here where we get in trouble.
So, without getting into politics and stuff, Life on 18 Wheels says, come November, we might have a turnaround. I think we're going to have a big turnaround, but I don't think it's going to happen in November. It's not going to happen until sometime next year. Everybody says there's going to be a turnaround in the third quarter. Me personally, I think it's going to go flat after the summer. Somewhere around August, September, it's going to go flat again, and it's going to stay like that until after the election and possibly even into, first quarter next year. That's my opinion only. And that's not getting into politics or anything, but if one side of the party gets in, then I think we're all going to be screwed.
Yeah, and I think also, and this is what we do. We voice our opinion, and we don't always agree. I don't think we're going to see things turn around before the second quarter of next year because I'm just going to be blunt, okay? And I don't mean to be sacrilegious because I'm a very religious person. But it'd be hard for God himself to change the mess we're in right now in 30 days. I mean, we're in a mess. Most Americans are asleep, James, and you and I talk about this all the time. This economy is way worse than what the news media is telling you.
Yep.
We see people every day in truck stops begging for food. We see
And that's
people
truck
every
drivers.
day.
That's not.
Yeah.
That's truck drivers.
Yeah.
That's not beggars. That's
Yeah.
truck drivers that are begging for money.
Yeah, this economy's really bad. I'm 55 years old. It's the worst I've seen in my lifetime. It's worse than the Jimmy Carter years. It's worse than 2008 when Obama was in. This is bad. This is really bad times. I mean, people have had to use credit cards to buy groceries, to buy diapers, to pay their power bill. And at some point, guess what happens? Your credit card's maxed out. And then you can't get money for groceries and you can't get money for diapers. And the American people as a whole are struggling bad. And we've got to have a change. And here again, that's not meant to be political. We've got to have a change. We cannot keep doing what we're doing. You and I can, but we make more money than a lot of people make.
So Country says Laredo ass, screw Laredo, bro. I don't know what that means. I thought that's what he wanted to do, but besides the point. And Life on 18 Wheels said Laredo used to be my hot spot. Yeah, Laredo used to be a hot spot. And
Laredo's still good for us, although I guess I should have permission before I say certain things, but you don't see, I'll just say it this way. You don't see many Laredo loads on our board, but we have tons of Laredo freight. And if you work here and you need a load out of Laredo, you can always let me know and I can get you a load out of Laredo. That's no problem. We know who to call to get a load out of Laredo.
Life on 18 Wheels says, you're not lying, Mike. I don't know. I don't remember what we were talking about.
He's probably talking about you getting the word in there.
Probably, yeah. The turnaround won't start until we get back to red in DC. That's correct, Country. We definitely need red. And Country says Houston, bro, is what we talked about. Well, yeah, Houston is the Toyota stuff that we were talking about, absolutely. And then we broke off into a tangent about Laredo after that because that was, we were having problems getting loads out of Houston, and that's when we talked about possibly getting something from Laredo out.
Yeah, and Texas for
and you know what?
Thinking
About it now, Country isn't the one that was wanting Laredo. That's Jeff that wanted the Laredo stuff.
Well,
he's the one.
Texas,
Laredo to North Carolina.
Texas is the new Florida, and let's explain to everybody what that means, James. So nobody wants to go to Florida because you can't get the crap out. Okay, well, why can't you get out? Okay, well, let's talk about that. So Florida is what we call a consumer state. They have a lot of people down there. They consume a lot of crap. So there's stuff going in there, but they don't make anything. So there's no loads coming out. You got, and I'm making up numbers, and these are not going to be accurate, but I'm trying to make a point. You got 2,000 trucks going into Florida, and you got 400 loads coming out or 300 loads coming out. So what that does is you got a bunch of people fighting for a handful of loads, and the shippers can pay whatever they want to, and it drives the rates down. Well, Texas has always been a manufacturing state. They've made as much crap as what they consume. But the problem is now everybody's fleeing these bad states like Oregon and California. Well, where are they going? They're going to Texas. So now you got all these people moving into Texas, and most of them, they're real estate people, they're lawyers, they're whatever. They don't make anything, is my point. So now you've got Texas, the freight going in, you got to have a lot more of it to take care of those people. Well, they're not making anything more than they was making, so you got too many trucks down there, not enough loads coming out. So what are the shippers doing? They're bleeding us dry on money. They're starving us on money because they can. So that's a problem with Texas. It's starting to look like Florida. You get pretty good money going in, but you take a bath coming out. Right. That's the problem.
So, Life on 18 Wheels, he asked Mike, has you ever driven an international before?
I have not.
You didn't have an international?
Actually, when I drove for Estes, they had a couple international. I take that back. I mostly drove a Volvo there, but they did have a couple internationals because one of the hubs I went to was where the shop was, so of course everybody's truck that was broke down or needed service, I had to take it. So
He's trying to dig on me is what he's doing because I took the International over Freightliner. I'm the only one, but you know what? I just cannot stand Freightliners. Everybody has one. I think I've even got Poppy convinced that he wants an International now too. But it's
There's a lot of things I like about my truck, but let me tell you about that. So the reason I chose Freightliner is because it's got a Detroit in it. It's the only truck you can get a Detroit in. I'm a huge Detroit fan. 60 Series Detroit was the best motor ever built, in my opinion, put in a truck. And so that's why I got it. Freightliner has always led the industry in fuel mileage. Well, guess what? They went to sleep. They didn't do their homework. They didn't do their job. And now they're the worst fuel mileage on the road. I have a buddy. It's got a 579 Peterbilt. He's getting 10 miles to the gallon at 72 miles an hour. James has got an International. He's getting 9.5, 10 miles to the gallon. And I'm sitting here at 72 miles an hour. I'm getting 8 to 8.3. And if I baby it, I can. If I wanted to run 61, 62 mile an hour, yeah, I could probably get it up to 9, but it would never get to 10 pulling a load. And I don't have time for that crap. When you you do the math, 730 miles a day, you ain't got but 11 hours you can drive, you know?
yeah.
So,
Let's correct that a little bit too. I will get 9 miles to the gallon at 70, 75 miles an hour with 42,000 pounds.
that's
You know,
correct.
with the
That's
few
correct.
loads that I've had, I'll still get that kind of mileage.
Correct.
So Life on 18 Wheels says Florida always pays good going in. And again, that's because we're a consumer state. Florida's a consumer state, but not a producer state.
Yep.
The
No one
capacity
wants
is
to
very
go
high.
because you can't
That's
get
right.
out. It's supply and demand.
Well,
So
the capacity is real high too.
they're going to pay you big money to go down there. And that works great for you guys that live in Florida. James always gets good money going to Florida. Why do you think I'm going to Florida tomorrow?
Yep.
That load pays 2.5 days pay for a 1 day run.
Yep.
I can
That's
afford to
true.
deadhead out of there to Macon, Georgia. So Florida's great. You just got to know those are the loads, James, we talk about. We book 2 at a time. We don't book a load in until we got a load coming out. If we can't
That's
get
right.
out, or if we don't know what the next plan is, we don't go, right?
That's right. He
Same
says
thing with Texas.
we don't make no more oranges to make orange juice.
Yeah, and that
Yeah, it's
Tropicana pays about $1.05 a mile. No, thank you.
yeah. It don't pay much either. The two things you got coming out of Florida for the most part, well, actually three things, is going to be cardboard, which is it's not cardboard. It's paper towels and toilet paper that comes out of south of Jacksonville. You got orange juice and beer loads, and that's about it. And the beer
Flatbed's pretty
loads.
good.
Oh, flatbed's awesome. I mean, look at
Yeah.
Life of KO. He's doing pretty good with his flatbed journey. I know me and Country
Yeah.
talked about him, and honestly, that's how me and Country made contact with each other through Life of KO. But yeah,
Mm.
um, we're almost at an hour and a half, actually over an hour and a half, guys. Anybody got any more questions? Pop them up, please. If not, we're gonna cut this thing loose. I told Mike earlier, probably about 45 minutes to an hour, and here we are, twice the amount of time.
Well,
I'm
my 14's already caught my 11, so we're gonna have to
yeah.
roll.
I don't mean I'm listening to every word you guys say, and when we do lives in the future, just so you know, I look down because that's how I read the comments, just to remind you guys.
Yeah,
Not
I'm
trying to
not
be
doing that.
rude to anybody.
Nicole cranked us up for that last time.
She got mad. She got mad at you, didn't she?
She did. She corrected me. I said, "Yes, ma'am. I won't do it no more."
Well, let me tell you something about Nicole. She's an ex-officer too, and Mike can attest to that because he's worked with her, and she's a very Type A personality too. That's one of the reasons why I'm with her. She keeps me in line.
That's
So,
right.
well, guys, let's cut it, and we'll just end it here, man. Appreciate everybody
Mike,
coming
it's good
out.
to have you on, and look forward to working with you. And James and I'll help you any way we can.
yeah, I appreciate
And
you having
just-
me on the show, and I'd be glad to come back in like a month and give you an
Yep.
update, let you know
Well,
how it's going. And
One comment came up, and I told you he was going to dig at this. He said, Life on 18 Wheels posted, said, I just wanted to say hi. You should have gotten a Freightliner, Mike. Country made a good thing, too. He said, definitely should have got the Cascadia. And Mike, start a YouTube channel is what he's telling you. You need to start your own YouTube channel so you can get a voice in.
I will say this about the Freightliner. I've got 255,000 on it right now. It's never been in the shop one time. None of that electronic book with the
EGR.
EGR valve, or none of the check engine light stuff. Now, I will say this about it, and I hate to admit this, it hurts my pride. But one thing about a Freightliner, the electronics in it, about once a month, once every 2 months, will take a crap on you. And it'll do crazy stuff. I mean, I got in it last week, and it never had done this. So when turned the key on, it wouldn't start, wouldn't even try to start. Windshield wipers going nonstop on it. So I had to go look YouTube it, figure out what was wrong, what to do. It was just as simple as killing the master switch on the power, waiting 10 minutes and turning it back on. I hate that. It ticks me off. But it's just something with Freightliner that the electronics will just take a dump on you every 60 days or something. It's done all kinds of crazy things, but so far, knock on wood, every time you kill the power and wait 10 minutes, I guess the modules reset in it or something. I don't know.
All right, guys, we'll end it. Thanks for a great show. I put the text out. Everybody have a great evening. Talk to you guys later, man. Be good.
Thanks,
Have a
Mike.
good one,
Thanks,
Mike.
James.
Thanks, Mike.
See
Thanks,
you now.
Chris. Bye.